So, people, here we are with the topic moment. Most of us were again waiting to see Keiko Tanabe, and she's here today. She's ready to start with her art, with her painting, and we are very happy to have Keiko here. It's really a joy, a very big honor, Keiko. And De Fabriano is also supporting Keiko, and we all love her. I'm not taking time to introduce her because all of us know her very well. Keiko, please start. And we are happy. We are really happy you're here. Thank you a lot.
Hello? Hello? Yes? Okay. Good morning. Buongiorno. My name is Keiko Tanabe. And it's such a great honor for me to be invited to do a demonstration today. So in front of me, I have Fabriano Artistico, which I often use on plein air and also in the studio. It's one of my favorite papers. And I like rough surface. That's what I'm using today. 140 pounds, 300 grams. And so without further ado, I would like to start because I only have 1 hour and I have full sheet. And I would try my best to finish my painting, but I just want you to enjoy this demonstration. Hopefully it's going to be educational and also entertaining as well. Because I know the whole conference has been so rewarding for all of us. But it's not often that we stay seated for such a long time, for days on end. So I know if I don't do a good demo or if it's not interesting enough, you may fall asleep. So I will try to make this as exciting as possible. And I want to have fun too. So I will start doing something, but this is how I normally paint. In the beginning, you may feel, what is she doing? And you may not know exactly where the painting is going, but this is usually how I start. But I won't tell you what I'm painting. It's all in my head. I don't have a photo, I don't have a sketch, really nothing, but I do have an image in my head. That's what I would like to paint today. So the paper is right now dry, but I'm going to wet, but not just with the water, with the color. So, but it's going to be very, very watery, so you may not see colors too much. Actually, one of my favorite brushes that I'm using, Ego from Korea. Yeah, so what I'm doing is right now is called a first wash, and I believe a lot of artists paint pretty much this way, doing the first wash, using a quite light value. And then after that, to start using darks to create a contrast to make it look more 3D. And that's what I do typically. So I think today it's going to be like that. Wash with a very pale wash, starting with a little reddish color. And right now, okay, this is the center of the paper, so I think I want to leave a little bit of white space once here. Leaving white space on the paper is something I really pay attention to in the beginning, and that's actually the only thing I worry about. If I don't save white space, it's a mistake for me. So knowing where it is, and it's extremely important, especially I'm trying to do this painting without drawing. So to see the shape where the whiteness is needed is extremely important. So this wash needs to be slightly darkened with more orange. By the way, the paint I'm using is Sennelier. I use this brand as my favorite one. they had a booth, so you might have visited, and then they explained to you it's honey based, and that's one of the reasons I like this brand. And because of this, it's very luminous, and also most importantly for me is the paints in my palette. They don't get dry too quickly. Even if they do, with a touch of water, and I usually use a spray, I can revive the paints, dried up paints. So especially in a plein air situation, that is very important. I'm going a little slow so that the colors will sink in, and I don't. If I rush too much, and I might start using a next color before the previous color is too wet. I don't want colors to do crazy things, even though I'm not really trying to control colors. I'm sort of trying to keep the colors where I'm putting. So now I switch to kind of yellowish hue right here. Maybe, a little bit of turquoise mixed in. So, I know you have no idea what's going on. And, right, just a pattern of a color. Yeah, but this is relaxing for me. It's good because I'm nervous. Then this helps me relax, and so I'm not really trying to play safe. I do like to take risks, but this is not the stage where I want to do it. But at the end, towards the end of the paper, I might want to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to make a pool of yellowish color with a little bit of green to make a little puddle here. And after that, maybe I'll start using darks. That's different. Yeah, so let's make this yellow to run down into this dark mass here. And I'll splatter into this area to create a little bit chaotic look. That's what I want. Yeah, so now I'm picking something a little bit different before the paper. Over here is already dry, but here it's drying, it's still wet. So I'm going to put a little bit of purple here and over there as well. Yeah, so I'm just trying to set the stage for the next step. And then you probably, some of you at least, may start seeing something recognizable starting with the next step. So don't worry if you don't see anything that's nice at this stage. It's usually very chaotic, and I just try to set the, like I said, stage, but to set the tone or a mood that I'm after. So if I see it, I think my first step is successful. But even if it doesn't emerge, nothing is really giving me a yes, that feeling. I'm never discouraged. This is the time to be brave and have fun without worrying too much. I think if there's anything that I worry about in terms of making a mistake, is that to lose the light, because it is extremely important to capture light. And then in the watercolor, I think there's only way not to make it dark. So right here, I use dark tones, but elsewhere, it's all light. So it's all, actually, I have to find the darks. and so there's no contrast. Usually that's how I finish the first wash. This is a little bit different. So I'm making sure the darks are not invading the light area, which I know where, and I don't think it has happened yet. So that's why I'm not worried, even though it looks quite crazy. Yeah, I just don't want to let the color run down. I'm not trying to hide it from you. Yeah, I have to keep an eye on this. But while it's drying, I would like to go back to the top of the paper. I haven't done anything over there right now. So just to give you a clue, what's exactly I'm trying to paint here. Let me clean my palette first. Yeah, I do mix colors a lot, but I tend to use more pure or brighter colors in the beginning, and towards the end, I work mainly with more muted colors, grays, variety of grays. But most of the colors actually, for me, the variation of gray. As long as you pick, you don't pick colors near in the color wheel, I think you are creating a gray. So that's what I do. But I know it's the bright colored spots that really stand out in the finished painting, so I try to keep those spots as pure as possible. So right now, I think, I'm ready to start the very top. So very top, without laying down the first wash, I think I will almost create a finished painting over there, the alla prima style, which means in just one go, without layering. Okay, so it's not the color I'm trying to pick. The green, that's what I need. It's green, let's see. Maybe here. Yeah, beautiful color, phthalo green deep. And then I switch to red, cadmium red. Right here, a little bit more to make that value darker. So what do you see? Do I hear a flag? Yes, I think if you said that, you guessed it right. Well, I know this is why, if it's a flag in the middle, right? But let's put a little gray, which I mix the red and green to make this. There may be a little bit more green needed to make it neutral. Now, voila, there's a flag of Italy. This is where we are. So I'm going to quickly mix this green and red and make it really thick. Does anybody have any idea what it is? Yeah, some colors are not behaving. Well, I arrived in Italy. I live in the United States, if you... Oh, sure. And I arrived in Italy earlier in the week, but I didn't come to Bologna directly. I was in Venice. So that's a clue. I'm not just saying, I'm just giving a clue of what I'm trying to paint here, especially if you know the city, the beautiful canal city. maybe you saw something like this. Yeah, I have to work a little flat. Yeah, I love this paper because even though it's rough, which means a little bumpy on the surface, I can really move the pigment wherever I want and take it anywhere I want and just let it what it wants to do so easily. But with anything, I think it's our job as artists to learn how to use the material, and that takes time. So to be honest, in the beginning, I was not sure if this paper is for me. But after using it for a while, I really got to know it. So it's now one of my favorite. Yeah, just like the makers, people who make paper, they have so much passion and then pride, and it's a product that is alive, really. That's anything alive is complicated. It's not something that we can grasp the real in the characteristics and the very nature of it in a short amount of time. So just as much as serious as they are, we have to be serious using the materials they make. And it may not be for us, so we may find out. But it's if you use, it can be anything. It's not just a paper, brush or color, whatever. Yeah, give it yourself some time. And I usually, if I get a new product, I test it for 3 to 6 months. Then I decide that I want to keep it or maybe not. Yeah, another thing I like about this paper is that if I keep the puddle of color, sitting on the paper, sometimes, I don't notice it. Sometimes I just let it, but it doesn't create the blossoms, and sometimes it happens. But unlike a lot of other papers, it doesn't happen. Paper just absorbs the puddle very nicely. So I think that's good news for us. Okay, so I think this part, I want to leave it alone this way. And then move on to this area. Now the first wash is dry. It's ready for me to do the next thing. So right here, I'm going to use a little different colors. So the colors, even though I have a lot of colors in my palette, 14, 15 colors to be exact, usually in one painting, I only use maybe 5, 6, 7 colors. In this painting, I'm using pretty much all the colors. So it might be very colorful. But in each section, I'm being mindful that I'm not making it too colorful. I don't really like the color-heavy painting. Actually, for me, speaking of colors, color harmony is more important. So they'll create a balance, a harmonious look in terms of colors. That's what I like to have in my work. But that's something I feel. I try not to be too analytical. And I don't think I'm very knowledgeable. Although I try to take time to learn about colors, especially the colors I have in my palette. I decided to put it in my palette. But I think, we artists and creative types, I think we should try to feel and then work with the emotions. That it's usually right, so it may, be, so everybody may feel differently, and so, but that's what makes art interesting. So let's see, I'm trying to define shapes right here. Once again, the drawing, which I normally do, is not on this paper, so it's very, very important for me to visualize shapes. Okay, let's see. I know some of you are going to Fabriano tomorrow. Unfortunately, I cannot join you, but I was there in 2018. That was my first time to participate in the festival in person, not online. That was a wonderful experience, and I still hold the memories that I made over there dearly in my heart. But I really want to take this opportunity to thank Anna Massinissa and her team and all the volunteers to keep this wonderful watercolor tradition alive, even through the pandemic. So that's one of the things I wanted to say sometime during my demonstration, but also there is another reason. Maybe you see something, if you have been to Fabriano, what I'm painting just right now. Does it look like that town somewhere? Yeah, in my mind, in my head, and I keep hearing the voice, but there's somebody inside, and try not to lose the light. That's what I'm hearing. And that's what I try to do, really concentrate on. Keep the light, save the light. So where I don't have to do that, that's where I have to paint. That's where I have to darken. So obviously, these are buildings. Yeah, let's bring this all the way here. Yeah, I also have to make sure that I step back often. That's really the only way for me to know whether the painting is going in the right direction or not. There are some materials that I can say I cannot live without. But when it comes to brush, I'm open-minded. I like to try something new all the time. But I seem to like calligraphy brush quite a lot. And it's probably because as a Japanese, growing up in Japan, in schools, we practice calligraphy. Everybody does that. And then I like it. I liked it so much, and I even took some lessons after school. I'm not really good, but I liked it. So and also I like the feel of the brush, and the way the brush works on paper, and the kind of brush strokes those brushes can make. I kind of feel like I'm doing calligraphy sometimes when I'm painting using water media. But as a watercolorist, I'm more of a traditionalist, and I do have some opaque colors, but I try to keep my work as transparent as possible. I'm using the brush like a magic wand, but I'm trying to splatter. All right. So something's happening, right? So, well, I already said that's Venice, but this is Fabriano. But this is a mystery. But the way I'm working, what I'm painting is, I know it's important, but to me, there's something that is even more important. So that is why I paint. There must be a reason, and I'm sure when you paint, there's a reason why you're painting, and each painting is different reason. So that should come first, and then after that, how to paint that, right? And so techniques and materials that I need. But before anything, there has to be a question: why am I painting this? So that if I don't know, I should really stop and think more. But if I know the reason, the rest takes care of itself, really. So if I know the reason, that should be the theme of the painting, and that determines the composition, and also that determines the color choice. Depending on how I feel, I think color is closely associated with emotions, and it's almost universal, I think. If you see a certain color, you feel a certain way, and I think people living on the other side of the globe will probably feel the same way. I just feel that way. So I like to choose the appropriate color so that I can communicate my feelings, which is understandable to other people as well. But anyway, I started saying why I'm painting. Today it is the appreciation towards Italy, really. It has given me endless inspiration over the years. And also we're here. And after 2 years of isolation, we get together in this special place in Italy. So it's just an expression of joy as well. But to me, Italy is a very special country, and I have many reasons that I can share with you, but maybe another time. Today, I want to talk more about the paintings. And so I'm taking my time to finish this area before, I just want to give this area a little bit more time to dry, but I know I have a limited time to finish this demo, so I have to really make sure that I don't say time is up and I can't finish this. I do want to finish. So let's see. Yeah, any townscape, cityscape, urban scene needs people, right? So let me put some people. Yeah, oftentimes, and even if I don't see people in the scene, I just put them. And then all of a sudden, painting comes alive. Yeah, but even if I may put a lot of people, usually I just concentrate on 1 or 2 people that is my storyteller. And the rest, all the other people, just suggestion. They may not even look like people. But I think it's important to tell the viewer or viewers of my painting what is a focus inside the painting. Yeah, maybe a little bit of white. My paper, the paper I'm using today is not extra white, it's a traditional white. So if I use white, that might stand out. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. I feel that's too bright. Yeah, but let's see if I can do anything over here. It's pretty dry, so that's good. I was waiting for that. But let's just give this area a little bit more definition, details. I don't know if there's a name for this type of style, but it's not really abstract. It's not really super realistic. It's something in between. But I just try to capture the feel of the place on in the painting. That's really most of the time I think about. But to do that, I can't paint everything. I don't want to paint everything. I have to choose what I want to show with more definition. That part becomes more realistic, and the other part, by comparison, becomes a little bit less or even abstract. But I like combining almost 2 different disciplines, but that creates unique style all by itself, I think. Right, so let's do this right here. So what I would like to find right here, actually more people. in this total abstract chaos. Let's see where I want people. Maybe one here, the principal figure. Yeah, the kind of person who is full of energy, but there's no particular model in my mind. But I would just want them to be lively, animated. Doing what they love. Anybody like that looks beautiful if they're doing something they love. So almost silhouette. Just have to find outline and then darken inside to show you the kind of figure I'm trying to describe here, right here. But what's he doing? Or if it's a he, what do you think? Let's give it a little skin tone, although it won't be very noticeable. And probably another one. Yeah, there's a little bit of bloom going, right? Sometimes, actually a lot of times I like it, as long as it's not in the middle of the clean, beautiful sky or something. Once I did a demo, it was live, streamed live, and this happened in the middle of the sky. Oh, I panicked during that demo. So it's not always a good thing, but lots of times I like it. But this one, I don't know, maybe it's a little too much. Maybe just camouflaging by putting something there. I will not try to cover up too much, but just to distract people's attention going there, I will place another figure right here. So what are they doing? Where they are? Now I'm gonna put this back. Now I need to recline this, change the angle a little bit. So what I'm trying to paint here is a market scene. Did you guess that? If you guessed it, U.S. Visionary. I think that's amazing. If you are able to guess. Yeah, so two figures. One's vendor, one's shopper, while they are making a little conversation. Yeah, usually I do a lot of wet and wet in the beginning, and after that, I pretty much work on the dry surface. But if I keep doing that to finish a painting, to me, the result is too tight. So oftentimes I have to re-wet the paper and then start working wet and wet one more time. But I just wet the paper partially, not all over the place. And so I just throw in a few more people here and there because it's a busy market. In the back. Or other things, whatever. It can be there. Yeah, market scene can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be anywhere in particular, but there is a place that is in my mind. I will tell you where later, reveal the secret. But now, let me just finish. Yeah, just the background. Finish the background. Yeah, this obviously 3 different images, almost like a collage. But even though the beginning part, except for the top one, it's kind of similar. First wash, and then darks after that. But I already used dark in this one, even from the beginning. So in a way, I'm 3 different types of, 3 different types of process, actually, I'm showing you. But it doesn't matter. I think painting process is just like a journey. And the kind of journey I prefer. So when I travel, I don't really like to plan too much. Maybe I have to know where I want to go. So the destination, I might pick a destination. But otherwise, how to get there and all the other details, and I don't want to plan too much. That's not my way. So the painting is the same, I feel. I pick a goal. This is how I want to finish. This is the kind of finished painting I would like to have. I decide. And then start painting. Hopefully I get there, but I don't really try to rehearse in my mind. So the first step I had to do this, and second step is to get closer to the destination. It might be helpful, but I'd rather paint more spontaneously and enjoy even accidents along the way. And of course, too many accidents will make me panic. Of course, it's no good. But I try to enjoy the process, and eventually, if I get to this destination, to me, that's a successful painting. But of course, it's enjoyable, but it's frustrating at the same time, because I could get lost, and but we'll find a way once again. But getting lost is not really a good feeling. But to me, the goal setting is more important. As long as you know where you're going, whatever happens along the way, it's probably okay. You're not totally lost. Even if you may feel you're lost, you're not really. Okay, so yeah, I want to go back to the first one. I hope I have time. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, but that's good news for me. I thought maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you, Anna. Okay. So if this is Venice, I had to put gondola. right? It's a must. Do you agree? Or it'll be too cliche? But I heard somebody say yes. Whoever that was, I will do that. If it doesn't look good, it's your fault. But thanks for the encouragement, because I was going to do it anyway, if nobody says anything. Okay, maybe here. Yeah, I want to use gondola as a kind of a focal point in that area. Even though the background, well, that's the background that I painted, is interesting, but there's no focus. So I have to add something to it to give it a little bit more impact inside the painting. So what does it look like? Even though I have painted gondolas many times, it has a very unique shape. Okay, now there it is. So obviously, if there's a gondola, there has to be water here. Yeah, maybe a little bit of reflection of color. Well, first I was going to put 2 gondolas, but I don't know. 2, because, here the focal point is obviously the tower, so it's just the same number. It may sound silly, but I do think of those things. And I actually, when I paint, I'm not really thinking too much of what I'm painting. I think more about creating balance. That is way more important for me. So I want to forget about what I'm painting, because that thought distracts me. I need to stay focused more on important thing. That is design, actually. Design is the most important thing in a painting, no matter what I paint. So creating the balance, harmony, that type of thing. So it could be about the color, it could be about the number of things, the direction of brush stroke, vertical versus horizontal, and the color, if it's a color, warm versus cool, and also the edge, hard versus soft, and yeah, lots of things. So yeah, my mind gets busy just thinking about those things, and I have no room for other things. So less is more, right? We all hear that. It's not just painting, and it can be applied to anything and any other thing in life. All right. So let's see. here, I thought I wet it and I was going to do something, but not enough. Now I'm going to put a little bit warmer color here. It's a little too coolish. Yeah, it's so chaotic. I thought I could make it look better. But it's not a problem. It could be a problem, but I always tell my students, if you think you create a problem, there are a few solutions. One is, of course, to remove it. And usually that's the solution my students choose. So rigorously scrubbing off the mistake. But I always ask them to think about another solution, that is to create the same problem elsewhere. Something looks like a problem because that's the only thing staring at you. So if you have another spot throughout the painting, something similar, it doesn't look like a problem anymore. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it's worthwhile thinking. And I oftentimes choose that as a solution. I just don't believe in, once something is put on paper, and especially if it's dried already, I just don't believe in taking it out. I want to keep it in my painting. And also, scrubbing damages the paper. It may not be noticeable, but I just don't like to disturb the surface of the paper too much. Yeah, so I hope if you never thought about how to take care of problems, you might want to, try it. And of course, covering it up, that's another thing, But if the problem is dark and covering it up, and it's going to be very difficult. All right, so let's see. I know I'm going all over the place, painting here, there, and I hope I'm not confusing you, because I'm getting confused. No, just kidding. Everything's under control. At least I'm pretending that everything is under control. But I do. You see me stepping back often, so I'm making sure nothing is creating havoc. So what do you think? Do I need a gondolier? Yeah, do I see a gondolier over here? Maybe. Yes. Oh, sorry, I covered up my painting with my head. But this part is so far away. I need a longer handle on this brush. All right. So I will continue with the water, the reflection in the water, and then take it down to Fabriano in the painting. So like I said, towards the end, I work more with the grayer, more muted colors. Now all of a sudden reflections became clouds. And actually, yeah, I was not particularly happy with all the details. Sometimes the details are important, but lots of times they're not. So I want to kind of hide, not completely, so they will look more subtle. So hopefully this will enhance the light as well. And also the rest will look a little bit more consistent, more subtle in terms of details. And also there's another reason I'm thinking of using this color that I'm using to create shadows. Kind of purplish color. Now, all of a sudden, the shadows of Fabriano became the background of the market scene. Yeah, I was hoping to put a little bit more in the square, the Fabriano, but I think even with the little dots and blobs, and I can suggest, I don't have to paint all these figures with a realistic look. Yeah, so the last thing I do, just connecting everything. This painting was challenging, of course, 3 totally different images I'm trying to connect. But that's really the last step for me. Paying attention to all the, not necessarily shadows, but the darks inside the painting and try to connect. And usually, if I do that, painting comes together. I know in Fabriano there's a fountain here, and I was thinking of painting that too. It's hard when everything looks beautiful. I want to paint everything, and I can't choose. Although even as a teacher, I always tell my students, you got to simplify, you have to choose, don't paint everything. I'm guilty, definitely guilty of doing that. Yeah, so a little accent here and there. It's not directly above the tower? Okay. Yeah, so I'm sure even though I combine 3 different images, I'm trying to look at them all as one image, making sure there's a nice transition, at least some transition from one image to another, so that there's a flow inside the painting. I'm hoping I'm not dropping anything on the floor. Okay, so let's see. The wet part, the wet area is a little bit difficult to judge because of the glare they create under the light, but it won't change too much, so. Yeah, the last thing really is not to make corrections, but making a little, just doing a little tidying up here and there. Bring back shapes if they're not strong, visible enough, but of course I try not to overcorrect. That's not something I want to do. If I do that, I made a serious mistake, and I was supposed to make sure along the way that I don't do that. So, but at the same time, yeah, sometimes I miss things. Why didn't I see that? So those, including everything. And if there's anything that I can do to make the painting look better, not necessarily complete. Sometimes I like an unfinished look, but what's missing, what painting needs, and that's what I try to let it speak to me. Usually painting tells me what do I need before I put down my brush. Yeah, so I just have to keep listening to my own painting. I feel like it's a teamwork between me and the painting. So I keep the private conversation going between us. Yeah, but I think if I feel I keep looking for more things to do, it's probably done. Right? I don't know how you know that your painting is finished. To me, that's one indicator. All right, so let's see. Let me just do this guy. Red. I would just want red to stand out a little bit more. So I hops from here to here, and then here. Okay. Let's see what happened. Thank you. Thank you very much. But wait, I haven't told you where this is. So this is Venice, right? Venezia, Fabriano. This is Palermo, Sicily. Anybody from Sicily?
Great,
So,
Keiko,
in a
thank you
way,
a lot.
it's a map of Italy. From north to south, this country is just beautiful. No matter where I go, I'm inspired.
It is very poetical. Thank you a lot. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And just to remind you, all the recording of the demos are going in the webinar in June, so it will be possible to follow them back in YouTube. We will let you know later on the dates at least.